these are visuals we're beaming to you. The Deputy President has been present in the front row for quite some time now, just after 9 o'clock, as he takes in the feedback from the different dialogue labs that took place yesterday. These were the breakaway sessions where different themes were discussed. But as promised, we're continuing to bring you the voices of the different stakeholders. That's the term that's used often, who are represented here to elevate their voices and get a sense of whether or not they are happy with the process as it's fared so far. And, you know, I often interview all manner of people. Few get me as nervous as young people, given just how clear they are about what they want. So wish me luck as we go into our next discussion. Joining us now is Sandra Lishabela, who's the National President of the RCL, that's the Representative Council for Learners. Also joining us is Fezile Msuba, the Deputy President at a provincial level in Gauteng. So leaders in their own rights, and they join us now. To both of you, thanks very much indeed for popping by, looking so smart. It's lovely to see you. Let me start with you, Sandra. So much has been said about this dialogue, and it's about charting the future, which is very much, I suppose, going to be your problem, given the fact that you guys are the leaders of today and of tomorrow. Are you happy with what you've seen so far?
Absolutely not. I am not happy with what I saw. The whole point of having a national dialogue, or a dialogue per se, is so that people can speak their mind, and then the people that they're speaking to would be here and present to listen to what the citizens of South Africa want. The president left way earlier than expected, and some of the ministers left even before the president left. So that shows us this is just another pep talk, you know, just to soothe out the anger that is in the citizens of South Africa.
Sure. I'll get your sentiments in just a moment as well, Fezile, but let me stay with what you're saying about essentially the lip service that it seems is taking place here, Sandra. In your mind, I know you said that this was meant to be for people to vent out how they felt, but we're told that's going to be at the national dialogue stage. What's currently taking place now is more the planning, right, in the lead up to that national dialogue. In your mind, how should this have been planned?
You know, they should have given a platform for each and every citizen to be able to speak. Remember, this is still as neutral as it is. We need to attack it as neutral as it is, because probably by the time the national dialogue comes, it will be diluted with certain factors where the actual voices of the citizens of South Africa are not actually represented. So this is the time that we actually say it as it is, because it's still fresh and neutral. All
right, Fezile, let me bring you in. Do you feel that young people's voices are being heard enough?
Not necessarily. The presence of having a national RCL goes to show learner representation across the country. But then in this national dialogue, as they are convening the framework and everything, youth representation is not a priority that much, and they're doing this for us, the youth, because we are the future. So we are not being represented enough, so as to say.
Okay. Often I think we speak about the youth in a way that suggests that you all agree on the same things. And I'm sure even young people have disagreements. So I wonder, Sandra, if you were to kind of distill for us what it is that young people are calling for, how would you kind of frame that for us?
Young people are calling for quality basic, I'm going to start with learners, calling for quality basic education, not the bare minimum that we have right now. We live in a world that is so technologically driven. We need technological resources in each and every school. The schools that have technological resources right now are the schools that were white dominated. What about the schools that are in the villages? Are we saying that learners there are not important, or that they should not be prioritized? Also, another thing young people need is employment. No? If the government fails at providing employment, then let the government fund non-government organizations so that they can create employment. What we need as young people, quality and employment. Two things, straightforward.
All right. And Fezile, there's typically a stereotype that young people don't want to be involved in things like this. Young people don't want to be part of the democratic processes. In fact, election in and out, we're told young people don't rock up to vote, for example. All of you are on TikTok.
Not necessarily. It is misinterpretation by our leaders because they've had the stereotype for a long time that young people don't want to work, they don't want to get involved. We actually do. But the problem is that we look at Parliament, we look at the members of Parliament. It's very rare where you find young people there. So I feel if there was more youth involved, then youth would be involved. Like in politics, if more youth was there, then the youth would feel like, okay, guys, let's get involved. Because now they've proven their incompetence multiple times, and they sideline us a lot, and yet they say we don't want to be involved.
Okay. Are you confident about where you reckon the country is headed, given what we've spoken about, given what we've seen today and yesterday? Take me through just your levels of optimism about the leaders of the day and whether or not the country that you stand to inherit is where you want it to be.
I'm just going to be straight on honest with you. The country is not where we want it to be. Firstly, this is what the leaders of South Africa need to understand, including the minister and the president, right? They are living off a salary that they are paid by the people of the Republic of South Africa. The least that they could do is to come and listen to the people of the Republic of South Africa, or to serve their employers, which are the people of the Republic of South Africa. You know, it frightens us as the youth that I would have to work and then come back and pay the very same tax that is killing our parents right now.
Fezile, your take?
In terms of government, as Sandra mentioned, that we need more involvement in everything. You know, the government is really, I don't want to say they're old, but they're very old. We're looking for progress. They're still stuck on avenging themselves. And if we were to start using, because they've got this thing that we avenge ourselves for apartheid and all those things that we've suffered in the past, I feel we should be using it as a guideline for progress instead of having to avenge ourselves all the time.
If we're looking for more youth involvement, I don't want to take it for granted that young people are even watching this program today, that they're all represented in the RCL, which you guys both lead. Where do we find them? Where are young people? What preoccupies your mind? Because whilst you guys are very articulate and, you know, have a very clear, I suppose, understanding of what you want, I don't think that's true necessarily for everyone in your peer group.
You find young people at school. You find young people at the ground, on the streets. You find young people at the streets of Soweto. You find young people at the streets of Alexandra. You find young people at the streets of Seshego. You find young people at the streets of PE. That's where you find young people. You do not find young people in meetings with ministers. You do not find young people in the cabinet. You do not find young people in government. So if really the president was prioritizing young people, he would go to where young people are. Where young people are on the street trying to find employment. Young people are not in government making mandates that are for selfish and corrupt purposes. Young people are out in the street striving for a future that they know that could take them somewhere, because the government, all the cabinet, useless cabinet meetings, they have failed us multiple times. So if really the leadership of this country wants to find young people, let them go to the streets, let them get off their high horse and let them go to the streets to find young people and actually ask them what they want and what must be done to this country. Remember, the people that are in the government, I'm going to second what he's saying. It's not an insult that they are old, but it's nature that they are old. Unfortunately, it's something that there's nothing that we can do about that. They are old. It's nature, you know. So whatever that they're laboring for, whatever that they are harvesting for, is for us young people. So hence why I'm saying that if ever they are doing it for corrupt mandates so that I would get a higher pension, it's not going to benefit them in any way. It's only killing this country, you know. That is why I live off the words of the great president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. I'm very impressed by Ibrahim Traore of what he's doing. He has taken out Burkina Faso from how it was under the leadership of the countries of the West to the Burkina Faso that it is right now, that is excelling so much. We have so much that Burkina Faso does not have. We have gold, we have minerals, but yet we cannot even achieve 2% of what Burkina Faso has done. What does that tell us as the citizens of South Africa? It tells us the government is failing us. This is one thing that I need to let it known to South Africans. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela is gone. May his perfect soul rest in peace, but he is gone. Chris Hani is gone. Steve Biko is gone. Tsietsi Mashinini and Khotso Siahlole, they are all gone. Now it is time for us as the youth to stand up, because the people that they stood up for are failing them currently. You know, I'm very disappointed in the of the head of state of this country, because actually Cyril Ramaphosa is the one who seconded the nomination of President Rolihlahla. You know, he trusted him that he would make a difference and a change in this country. But of what is going on right now, as the youth, we are really disappointed. You know, this is not what 70,000 children died for in the Soweto youth uprising. They died for better. They did not die for us to receive the bare minimum and call it quality basic education. They did not die for us to be here. And this, you know, the problems that we're talking about right now is the problems that we face day to day. But why should you spend so much money in calling a national dialogue while you can take that money and invest it into changing the problems that are faced by this country? That is why I'm saying this is another pep talk. We do not need a dialogue to change the problems that are happening in South Africa. We need an active leadership in South Africa to change the problems that are happening in this country.
All right. If you ever wondered whether young people have a clear idea of where they want this country to go, I imagine this conversation may have challenged that perception. To both our guests, that was Sandra Leshabela as well as Fezile Msuba, both part of the RCL, a youth council, if you like, representing the country's young people at both a provincial and national level. To both of you, thanks very much indeed for popping by. And we will, of course, keep watching not only the sentiments of young people, but many of those who are the current custodians of the government of the day.